Hello, I'm Beth Joey and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome. This is the channel where I paint my face, turn my camera on, and talk about some books. If you can't tell, I only just got out of the shower, so my hair is an absolute mess. It's still wet, I haven't brushed it, but I wanted to get some filming done today or this morning before I start work and bring to you guys another 5-book reading update, because with Whateverthon at the moment, which I will link my latest reading vlog up above and down below, it has meant that I have been reading tons and tons of books, and so I need to update you guys. But we are going to start with 3 books that I read prior to Whateverthon, including 1 DNF and then the 2 first books of Whateverthon. So without dillying, dallying or dawdling, we are going to start with Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerri Maniscalco. This is the first book in this 5-book reading update, and I gave this book 3 stars. As for what this book is about, it follows a girl named Amelia who is a witch, and I think she finds her sister dead and her body desecrated beyond belief. And when she finds her sister dead, she finds a man standing over her body, which leads her to believe that this man is the one that killed her sister. She vows to seek vengeance at any cost, even if it means summoning one of the princes of hell. I spent 99% of this book incredibly confused. The characters, when they were trying to solve the murder, they would constantly swap back and forth between hypotheticals and potential culprits, who was committing certain evils, and I was just incredibly confused by the number of characters and species, names and laws that I had to remember. It felt like Kerri Maniscalco was just trying to shove a ton of intro information into this book so that you would be set up for the rest of the series, but then it just made me more confused. Though I will say that I did love the relationship between Wrath and Amelia. I thought that their banter was very entertaining, and in terms of the info dumpiness, I guess it sort of lent a vibe to the book where you felt like you were learning about the world right alongside Amelia, because it was always a world that she'd kind of shunned and didn't believe in, but she didn't believe in the full extent of it. I think Kerri Maniscalco did an amazing job at drawing out tension and suspense, especially towards the very end of the book. And the pacing felt really good too, because there was never a really dull or boring moment, but there was just way too much packed into this one book. So I'm hoping the next book in this series kind of slows it down a little bit and focuses a little bit more on some of the elements that they need to build, some of those sort of world building, magic building, character building elements, so that it doesn't feel too info dumpy. Next up is a book you are not allowed to judge me for, and I only read it because it came up in my punishment cup, but I also kind of enjoyed reading it, and that was After by Todd. This is a book that I have read before. I read it back when the first After movie came out, because I kind of enjoyed that movie, so I wanted to read the series. And as for this book, I think I gave it 2 stars, mostly because it's a book you read for enjoyment and not a book that you read to have any sort of analysis or draw any conclusions from it. It's just a fun read. As for what it's about, it follows Tessa, who's the stereotypical good girl. She's got the perfect boyfriend, she's got great grades, she's got a loving, if not overbearing mother, and she's just getting off to college where she's really determined to find herself. But as soon as she jets off to college at WCU, she meets Harden, who is a bad boy with tattoos, piercings, tousled hair, and he takes her down a spiral of a path of drama and recklessness and cheating, and it's all just kind of spirals from there. Like I said, this is a book you read for enjoyment, knowing full well that it is incredibly problematic. The way that Harden treats Tessa, and indeed the way Tessa treats Harden as well, is very immature, very wrong. They are both in just an incredibly toxic relationship, and also the way that Tessa treats a number of the other people in her life is incredibly wrong, like her sort of ex-boyfriend Noah. I think the entire book is built around toxicity, because the relationship obviously between Tessa and her mother is incredibly toxic as well. It's like Tessa's mother has loaded all of her hopes and dreams on Tessa because her own life didn't turn out the way she wanted it to, and it's also just incredibly stereotypical about the college experience and the attitudes and beliefs of people who are in college and what they act like. It's a lot to take in. It is a fun read, but it is not by any means good. Next up, I read The Diviners by Libba Bray, which was my last book before I kicked off into Whateverthon week 1, which I will link the video of up above and down below. But it was also my DNF, and there are a lot of reasons why, and I will go into that in a sec. But as for what it's about, I'm just going to read you the Goodreads profile for it, because I don't remember a ton, because I DNF'd it reasonably early on in the book. And the blurb says, Evie O'Neill has been exiled from her boring old hometown and shipped off to the bustling streets of New York City, and she is positively ecstatic. It's 1926 and New York is filled with speakeasies, Ziegfeld girls, and rakish pickpockets. The only catch is that she has to live with her uncle Will and his unhealthy obsession with the occult. Evie worries her uncle will discover her darkest secret, a supernatural power that has only brought her trouble so far. But when the police find a murdered girl branded with a cryptic symbol and Will is called to the scene, Evie realizes her gift could help catch a serial killer. As Evie jumps headlong into a dance with a murderer, other stories unfold in the city that never sleeps. A young man named Memphis is caught between two worlds. A chorus girl named Theda is running from her past. A student named Jericho is hiding a shocking secret. And unknown to all, something dark and evil has awakened. Just like with Kingdom of the Wicked, I was incredibly confused by this book, and maybe for this one it's because I wasn't in the right headspace because I was trying to smash out one last book before Whatever-thon started. But it all was just very complicated. There was a lot of characters to keep track of, a lot of plot lines, a lot of weird magic systems that weren't fully explained. I always felt like I was massively playing catch up. And then in the plot there was also a lot going on with religion and the occult and these people with supernatural abilities, a murder mystery. Like, this book is perfect for someone who can intensely focus on all those different aspects and keep track of everything that's going on, whereas I am not that sort of person. I feel like in a first book in a series it needs to be more simple so that the world and everything can establish itself well and you can learn about sort of the base level of what you need to know, and then you build on that in books afterwards. So if there's any building in the rest of this series, then I am screwed, because I do want to pick this up again. I did really love the characters, and that is why I want to pick this up again. Like, I loved Evie, she was a lot of fun. I loved Memphis, he had sort of a bit of sass to him. Like, all the characters were a lot of fun, so I want to come back and read this book again. I just need to be in a more focused mindset, I think, when I read it. And now we are going into the first two books of Whatever-thon, which the first one is Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. I absolutely loved this book. It is a sapphic romance. I gave it 4 stars. I enjoyed it so much. It follows Delilah Green, who is an aspiring photographer. She's finding success in New York City after living there for quite a long time, sort of trying to make ends meet. She's estranged from her family and vows to herself never to return to Bright Falls, where she grew up, until one day her estranged stepsister invites her to come and photograph her wedding. And the only reason why Delilah Green says yes, really, is because there is a load of money behind this offer. When she arrives, Delilah stumbles into Claire Sutherland, which is her stepsister's sort of stuck-up best friend, and decides that maybe there's a little retribution to be had, a little fun to be had. So Delilah decides to throw a spanner into the whole wedding, into the whole works, and the sort of romance and the banter and the fun just blooms from there. It's amazing. I read this book so fast, and I genuinely could not put it down. And I mean, whilst I didn't love the bet plotline that was sort of subtly running throughout this book, and I did think there were a lot of characters' names to remember, and there were a few that were kind of similar to each other, so I would constantly get them confused. I did really love how fleshed out and feisty Delilah and Claire were, and some of the supporting characters around them as well. There was a real found family element in this book that was really heartwarming, both with the friends that they made and then the family as well that Delilah had always kind of like separated herself from, because I guess there was a lot of misunderstanding around the relationships there when she was growing up, and she saw things one way, and because she never communicated with her stepsister, they never really discovered like what was actually getting in the way of them having a relationship. Of course, the mutual pining was fabulous, and then when the tension finally broke, oh my god, it was amazing that these two had such a sweet, beautiful relationship, but it was also very sexy. So yeah, love this book, 4 stars. Please go and read it if you're into this sort of genre. And then lastly, we have A Marvellous Light by Freya Marske. Sorry for the shiny cover, it's reflecting against my window. This book I gave 3 stars, so this video is sort of like an average reading. As for what it's about, I remember this book being really complicated, so I am just going to read the blurb to you, and it says, "A hidden world, a magical conspiracy, a thrilling romance. Young Baronet Robin Blythe was already in a spot of bother. He's struggling to be a decent older brother and a responsible employer, and to rescue the estate ravaged by his late parents' successors. Then an administrative mistake appoints him parliamentary liaison to a secret society, and he discovers magic lies beneath the reality he's always known. Soon Robin must contend with magic's dangers as well as its beauty, for as he tries to find his missing predecessor, he attracts a deadly curse. To navigate these hazards, he'll need the help of Edwin Corsi, his prickly magical society counterpart, but his aloof associate clearly wishes Robin were anyone and anywhere else. Drawn together by unexpected perils, Robin and Edwin will discover a mystery as old as the power that binds the land, a plot that threatens every magician in the British Isles, and a secret that some have already died to keep." This book was really heavy on the character building and the world building, and even some of the magic building, but it was very minimalist on the plot, to the point where everything that I just read you in the blurb was not really what the book covered. It sort of covered the precursor, I think, to all of that. Whilst the process of lifting Robin's curse, which is sort of how this book starts off and how Edwin and Robin like start their relationship, relationship. I think it is important to the general like plot of the series, but I don't think it needed as much time as it got in this book. I would have liked way more time dedicated to understanding this secret that people have died to keep side of the story, which is definitely what the blurb sort of hints is going to be the main focus. Plus, I didn't fully understand the magic system and the rules and boundaries and everything, so I would have liked a bit more time building that out and explaining that, because at the very beginning, Edwin is supposed to be someone with very limited power, and then all of a sudden he's able to do amazing, incredible things towards the end of the book, so I don't really understand his capacity and his abilities. But the plus side to this being so heavy on the character building is that I did fall in love with the characters. I loved Robin and Edwin. I thought they were so much fun. They had some great banter, and then obviously I absolutely hated Edwin's family but loved Robin's sister, and it's definitely supposed to be that way with how the families are positioned. Edwin's family is just loves to throw a spanner in the works and treat people like shit. And then as for the smut, I did not expect it to be quite as graphic as it was. And I'm not complaining, but man, when I read some of those scenes, I was like, what the hell? This is way more than I've ever read. But anyway, these 4 plus the Diviners are 5 books that I have read recently. Let me know if you have read any of these books or what you've been reading lately, and if you're loving it, not loving it. Love to chat to you guys in the comments down below, and I do my best to reply to every single comment. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know if you did by liking, subscribing, and hitting the notification bell all down below. It is a super easy way to help my channel grow, and I will see you lovely people in my next video. Bye!